Just a robot.
Okay, first I want to say sorry about the background. My house blew up, so you're going to be seeing this for a while. But on another note, I found something amazing. There are still people to this day that believe the Earth is flat. dmurphy25. I looked at the title of some of his other videos, and I'm very certain this is not the only video of his I'm going to cover. But there for another time. Right now I'm going to talk about his Flat Earther Truth video that is about 21 minutes long and is a collection of clips from an episode of The Tonight Show that he was on. Just so you know, there is a 1-hour version of this, but I ain't gonna edit something that long.
Now, you can actually measure the temperature of the moonlight next to the temperature of the shade of the moonlight, and you'll find the moonlight is colder than the shade, the opposite from the sun. So the moon is throwing out its own light, and that light is the opposite from the sun. Now, that tells you that it's not reflecting the sun's light. It's producing its own, and its light is different from the sun's.
So I've never actually heard about the moonlight being cold until now, so I decided to look up a few videos about this on YouTube. Big shocker! They were all from Flat Earther channels. Here's how they do their test. They take one of those scan thermometers, they make some shade with a book or something, and then they scan the area where there's moonlight and the area where there's shade. However, there's two problems with this test. Number one, what's actually making things colder is the wind. When there's something blocking the wind, yeah, it's not going to be as cold. And second, most flat earthers believe in the Bible. But where does it say in scripture that the moon gives off cold light? And even if it did, it really wouldn't disprove anything. I'm sure there would be a reasonable scientific explanation for it.
The other thing that's about the spinning Earth is looking at the stars. Now, directly above the axis of spin is the pole star, Polaris, okay, directly over the North Pole. And we're told that the reason that all the stars spin around the North Star is because the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. And yet the Earth is moving 67 times faster that way and 600 times faster that way. So you should see the stars do all sorts of strange motions.
Okay, I cut a little out there because he was rambling forever and I don't want to get a copyright strike. And I get what he's saying. The Earth is not only spinning, but it's also spinning around the sun, and the sun is also floating throughout space at several miles an hour. So why aren't the stars doing all these crazy movements? Well, the answer is very, very simple. It's because they're really, really far away! Other than our sun, the closest star to Earth is Alpha Centauri, which is 4.367 light years away. For those of you who don't know what a light year is, well, a light year is how long it takes light to travel in a year. This is something flat earthers do a lot. They do a bunch of calculations and it seems smart, but they leave out very important details. Like, oh, I don't know, distance!
But you don't. You only see them make these perfect circles. That tells me that it's the stars that are moving, not the Earth.
It feels so great to laugh with a new laugh chip that's made from an alloy of adamantium and unobtainium.
What about the people in Australia? You know, they're standing on the bottom of the globe, won't they fall off?
No, they wouldn't. By your own logic, they wouldn't. Answer me this, flat earthers. Why is the Earth stationary, but everything else is falling? If we applied your logic, the Earth would be falling with the people, and it would be falling at a relative speed, so no, they wouldn't fall off by your own logic. By the way, I can stick magnets to my metal body, anywhere, even on the bottom, and they don't fall off and there's no glue applied. Some mysterious force is keeping them there. Ooh.
And your teacher says, no, gravity. And you go, oh, okay. And you never go back to that question. But when you go back to it as an adult and start looking at it with a critical eye, right, the whole thing falls apart.
No, it doesn't. This video proves that you don't know how gravity works. Look through a telescope and you can see moons flying around a planet.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's a leading astronomer in America, tells us that the Earth is not a perfect circle, it is actually an oblate spheroid, it's squashed and wider at the equator. Yeah. So my question to him would be, why is there land at the equator? Because water will move more readily than rock. So if the Earth is spinning, the water will be collected at the equator. I mean, if you spin a wet tennis ball...
Stop! You don't know what relativity is. We're already moving at the same speed as the Earth is. If the Earth suddenly sped up or abruptly stopped, we would be flung off. Let me give you an example. A car goes dozens of miles per hour, right? And while you're sitting in it at that speed, you don't feel like you're moving at all. But if you suddenly slammed on the gas or the brakes, you would feel a sudden jolt.
And you can see whenever the space shuttle lands, you can hear it. It's a loud jet engine. You watch any video of the space shuttle landing, you can tell it's a jet engine. It's a jet-powered aircraft. That's it. It's not a glider. In my video, I show you a glider, how that seems, and then I show you the space shuttle. And yeah, it's not a glider. It's an aircraft.
Well, it glides down, but they still use the engine. You don't think people glide into space, do you? They use rocket power. Rockets are what go into space! Maybe you just mean glide down from space, but no, they don't claim it can do that either without rocket power. And who's claiming that a space shuttle entering the atmosphere sounds more like a glider than a plane?
And that's what they're fooling us, taking billions of dollars in and giving us images and fake planes for that 10 billion, you know, however many billions of dollars it is.
Which is about 0.5% of the USA's budget. Wow, they're really shaking us down for the cash, aren't they? And they're spending the cash on CGI, Photoshop, and expensive-looking space equipment. In other words, they would be spending a few $1 billion just to trick us. And there are hundreds of other lies they could make to force us to give them money.
And I think the flat Earth came along at the right moment to educate people, to make people believe or understand that we've been lied to.
So the flat Earth came along? You mean it wasn't always here? Do you mean the Flat Earth Society came along? Because I really hate to break it to you, buddy, but every conspiracy movement thinks the same way you do.
And if you know, as I know in my heart now, that is real and this isn't, I will not be fooled by aliens coming, because there are no aliens. There's no space.
No, there absolutely is space. You can see it every time it turns dark. And also, congratulations, you won't be fooled by the aliens. Even though scientists have never claimed they existed, they just say they probably exist, but good for you, I guess.
Well, the Bible has a very, very clear view of what this place is.
I don't really care if it says in the Bible that the earth is flat. If you want to believe 100% of the things in the Bible are true, go for it. But I think you should know that maybe it's just a mistranslation. Maybe instead of saying the earth was flat, he meant the universe was flat. And guess what? Scientists say that the universe is flat. No, not flat in that way, flat in a different way.
And so you're taught enough so that you can, do the paperwork and operate the machinery, but you're not meant to know what's really going on, because that's the power they have over us. They know what's going on, how this world works. We don't, so they can control us.
Ah, yes, the mysterious they, the ones with all the power. The ones who will do anything to keep their secrets safe. Except for taking down your YouTube channel, not letting you on this broadcast, assassinating you, and many other things.
In my opinion, the Big Bang theory and the theory of evolution and the ball earth theory are all interlinked, and they're all there to make us feel as though we're insignificant. We're small, tiny,
miniature,
unimportant pieces of slime crawling around on a speck of dust in an infinite universe.
Yeah, you shouldn't believe that. You should believe what I believe. And I believe in an all-knowing, all-powerful deity. Because that won't make anyone feel small at all.
If you look out into the universe, you see that the moon is round, spherical, and the planets are spherical, and so why are we flat? Well, how do you know that the planets and the stars are spherical? All you get is, if you look for a telescope, you see a flat disk. If you think you see a spherical shape there, well, it needs two eyes to resolve 3D.
Oh, I get it now. So all the planets are flat like a coin. They may be rounded, but they're still flat. And they're all facing heads up towards the Earth. None of them are at a tilt or diagonal. And if you observe a planet for long enough like Jupiter, you can actually see it spin. Oh yeah, and before someone says we only seen one side of the moon, well, that's because it's locked with the rotation of the Earth. And it does move slightly. If you're observant enough, you can see the edges move.
The moon does spin, but its rotational period is equal to its orbital period. That's why it always has the same side facing the Earth. This is a very common thing called tidal locking, and it often occurs when a smaller body orbits a larger one. Most moons in the solar system are actually tidally locked with their planets. The phenomenon is the result of the torque applied to the tidal bulges. The torque caused by, you guessed it, gravity! The rotation of the orbiting body causes the bulge to point not straight towards the other body, but slightly in the direction of rotation. This will result in a torque pointing slightly in the opposite direction of rotation, slowing the rotation down until it matches the orbital period. It will eventually lock both bodies, and not just the smaller one. It just takes longer to lock the larger one as well. An example where this has already happened is Pluto and Charon.
And so why, it's like saying a basketball is round, so why isn't the court round? It's a fallacy.
No, you moron! You're comparing two completely different things. This is the shittiest argument I've ever heard in my artificial life.
We wouldn't allow this planet to be destroyed. Because they're destroying it because, it's just an accidental planet, one of millions. We've found other Earths, Eventually, if this one gets too messed up, we'll go to another one. No.
What? Who's saying this? We're hundreds of years off from having the technology to move everyone from Earth to another planet.
And this is what they've done. They've educated us into this world, into this globe spinning, heliocentric Big Bang evolution world. Which makes us nothing.
No, we're not nothing. There's just more stuff out there than we once thought. Also, I really wouldn't feel like I'm worth more if I was standing on a flat Earth or a round Earth. Your argument doesn't make any sense.
And something will strike a chord in your mind, and you'll think, yeah, I've always wondered that. And what will happen is you will start feverishly researching. I mean, what happened to me was, as soon as I got that, I spent every waking hour looking for things and testing things, and this seems to be replicated with thousands of people around the world who suddenly come into this. They start, researching and getting a passion for this, because this is what I think, it's the truth.
Yeah, you're basically getting an opium high. You're feeling like you just discovered the truth and everything is opening up to you for the first time ever. It's what people refer to as feeling woke or whatever. You enjoy the feeling so much that you don't even question it.
If there is a God, then we'd better find out who he is and what he wants and do exactly what he says.
Yeah, so why doesn't the heads of NASA claim to be God and demand we give them money? I mean, for hundreds of years, rulers have been claiming to be a god or demigod.
And it turns out that he gave us very specific instructions on how to live. And they're not rules as in, laws that you must follow because, or put you in prison if you don't. No, these are rules to live by, to make a harmonious world.
And if you don't believe in him, he'll throw you into a pit of suffering for all eternity.
Don't harm anyone, don't kill anybody, don't steal from people, don't covet people's items,
Don't lie.
Don't lie. I mean, these things are written in our hearts anyway.
Okay, these are good laws, but they're also really primitive laws. We added more stuff, like freedom of religion, freedom of expression, freedom of speech. I'm sorry, but when people say, our God tells us we shouldn't kill, unless it's an infidel, it doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, but we're in a society that legalizes all of the 10 Commandments. The policemen and soldiers can kill. They're allowed to kill.
Whoa! Soldiers can kill? And police officers can kill? Whoa! In the Bible, the followers of God never killed, except for all these dozens of wars they did. But at least God himself never killed, except for, flooding the earth and all that other stuff. But other than that, he never killed. I really don't want to bring religion into this, because I'm pretty sure 99.9% of Christians believe the earth is round. In the next few decades, when people are heading to Mars and looking back down on the round Earth, you're still going to be arguing, saying there's a hologram above you. Oh, and before I end the video off, I just want to apologize to you guys for not uploading a video last week. But I had a lot of work because of the Black Friday sales. Luckily, I'm going to start having people upload videos to my channel just in case something unexpected happens where I can't upload a video. Oh, I almost forgot. I also received this new piece of fan art. Just a robot and his pal Dreadlock. They like to roll the dice. God, that was cringy. Link to the person who made this new fan art down below. My eyes have seen the glory of the cleansing of YouTube. Debunking SJWs and feminazis too. We criticize reactionists in hopes they get the boot. Just a robot marches on.